software. That's supposed to make your life easier, but it's like missing that one crucial thing.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right. And it just makes you want to...
Throw your computer out the window.
Almost.
Ooh!
Well, get ready to dive in because today we're tackling this whole idea of service through software. Imagine, instead of companies just trying to sell us more software, what if they focused on delivering an actual service through it?
Now that's an interesting thought.
And the numbers here are staggering. We've been digging into some research from Verified Market Research. And get this, by 2030, the SaaS market.
That's software as a service for anyone just joining us.
Right, exactly. So that market is projected to hit a mind-blowing $908 billion.
Wow.
But here's the real kicker. The market for the IT services needed to make all that software actually work.
Okay, let me guess, even bigger.
Way bigger. Over $1.7 trillion in that same time frame.
So more than double.
More than 4 times larger.
Whoa.
Yeah. So what does that tell us? I mean, clearly there's this huge gap between what we're paying for and what we need to make that software actually sing.
Well, it makes sense though, right? Because so much of the software out there doesn't quite hit the mark. It's like buying a brand new car, fresh off the lot, but the steering wheel's on the wrong side. You can technically drive it, but it's not exactly going to be a smooth ride.
And you're going to have to pay someone to fix it.
Exactly. And companies are stuck with these expensive software solutions that then require even more expensive customization and workarounds just to function.
It's like they're selling you the ingredients,
Yeah.
but forgetting to give you the recipe.
Right. You end up with a bunch of stuff you don't know what to do with.
And our research actually calls this the expectation gap. That gap between the shiny software promises and then the often clunky reality.
Especially for large organizations, their needs are so complex.
Absolutely. Trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. So we've got this expectation gap.
Right.
This software that doesn't quite fit. And then this multi-trillion-dollar service industry trying to patch it all up.
Yeah.
So what's the solution here?
Well, this is where things get interesting. Our research points to this idea of service through software, where instead of just focusing on the software itself, it's about how it's tailored, how it's supported, how it actually serves the company.
So it's less about the software itself and more about...
the outcome.
Yeah.
Like, think about it this way. Imagine you need a new office space.
Right.
You could buy one of those like pre-built generic office spaces, but it's probably not going to perfectly meet your team's needs. You might have to like knock down walls, rewire things.
Yeah, it's going to be a mess.
Exactly. That's the old way of doing software. Service through software is like hiring an architect and a construction team who design a space specifically for your team, your workflow, even your company's culture.
Okay, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. But building a custom office sounds expensive. So how can companies actually afford this level of like tailored software development?
That is the million-dollar question. And this is where AI comes in.
Okay.
AI could be a real game changer here. We're talking about AI that can code faster,
Really?
automate all that documentation, even use predictive analysis to like anticipate future needs.
It was like having a team of robot programmers working behind the scenes.
Pretty much. Making that whole customization process way more efficient and way more affordable.
Okay, so does that mean we're saying goodbye to software as we know it?
No, not at all. It's not about getting rid of software altogether.
Yeah.
We still need those secure, those reliable software platforms as a foundation.
Right.
But instead of buying a whole bunch of features that you may never even use, it's more like you're paying for a partnership.
Interesting.
You're paying for experts who can use AI and their knowledge to mold the technology to fit what you need.
So it's less about owning a specific piece of software and more about buying into a service that's
Yeah.
constantly evolving.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see how that would be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be real for a second. Big companies aren't really known for being flexible and always wanting to change.
You're telling me.
And our research even mentioned that CIOs might be hesitant.
Oh, yeah, because they're comfortable.
Right. There's a lot of comfort in sticking with what,
Yeah.
even if it's not perfect.
That's a really good point. Overcoming that resistance to change is going to be huge. If you're a CIO and you've been doing things the same way for years, this new model, it's a big shift.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just about changing the technology, but changing the entire mindset.
So how do you even begin to convince those decision makers that this is the right move?
Right. It's easy to talk about AI and saving money, but how do you actually prove the value of this whole service through software thing in a way that speaks to leadership?
It makes you wonder, though.
Yeah.
what would it actually take to get those decision makers on board with this service through software idea?
Well, for some, it might be as simple as showing them the potential cost savings. Imagine being able to tell your CFO, we can do things better and save money at the same time.
Oh, yeah. CFOs love to hear that.
Right. It's music to their ears. But it's not just about saving money.
Okay.
It's about agility, being able to adapt quickly as things change.
Because with that traditional software, by the time you finally got it all figured out,
Yeah,
your competitors are already doing something new.
exactly. And this service through software thing with AI driving that adaptability, it could be a real game changer for companies who want to stay ahead of the game.
Oh, but
This shift, it also forces companies to really think about what they actually need.
You mean instead of just buying the fanciest software with all the bells and whistles?
Right. They actually have to stop and ask themselves, what problems are we trying to solve?
Instead of just, what can this software do?
Yes. It's about outcomes over outputs. And that can be really powerful.
So it's like, instead of buying a Swiss Army knife with like a million different tools,
Right.
you're working with someone to create the perfect tool for the job.
Now you've got it. And that brings up a really interesting question. If this whole service through software thing takes off, who comes out on top?
Ooh, good question.
Is it the big software companies who can adapt?
Right.
Or is it those smaller, more agile, service-focused companies?
It's like a race to the finish line.
It really is.
And what does this mean for everyone else, for our industries, our careers?
It's the big question. What skills are going to matter most in this new world? How do we make sure we're prepared for a future where software is more about service?
So much to consider. This has been a really eye-opening deep dive.
It has.
It's really made me realize that this isn't just about lines of code, but a whole new way of looking at technology and how it can help us achieve our goals.
Absolutely. It's a really exciting time to be paying attention to all of this.
It really is. Well, that's about all the time we have for today, but I want to leave you with this. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep diving deep. Because in this ever-changing world, the most valuable thing you can have is curiosity. Until next time.